All right, everybody, thank you for watching. This is the next video of the SunPower Gold inverters and how their operation works and how the batteries are set up and how I've got them set up. I'll go through a little bit in depth on how all this stuff works. But I mean, you can see this is my room. It's kind of like I put all my solar stuff in my hobby room. So this room's got like a combination of me and my kids' airplanes and helicopters and all the drones and everything else. But if we come over here, let's start with the battery. So you can see right here, right now the solar's charging the battery. It's at 35%, it says charging. Right here, you can see where it says the address, one master. This is the master battery right here. The battery over here, over to this side. The battery over here, this is the secondary slave battery. And that's kind of how it works with the inverters as well. But you can see it's 53.37 volts, 3.6 kilowatt hours. What's being used right now in the house is 1.64 kilowatts. So not a whole lot. But you come back here. What I used on this is, what is this, 4? I think this is 4 watt or 4 gauge, 4.0, yeah. This is 4.0 all wire gauge. It's just welding wire, it's a flexible wire. Both sides from here and from here, they come down into these boxes right here. And they're called combiner boxes, but what they really are is they're just battery bus bars. I found these off EcoWorthy, the biggest ones I could find. It's rated at 400 amps with a maximum voltage of 600 volts. These were very difficult to find, and actually they were only 48 bucks for the set off eBay. These are a little bit pricey. These are $70 a piece per breaker, but this is how I've done it. Each battery is rated at 200 amps. So what it does is it comes in on this 4/0 wire, comes into the line side of the breaker here, comes down, it goes into the bus bar, and then it goes back out 3/0 all gauge wire back up to the inverter. That's how the batteries are run. Then you've got your secondary wires here. So right here on your load side, all the load side, that's what's actually going into the inverters. So should something go wrong, it'll snap this breaker, or each one of these batteries have one of them little nifty fuses on it. So if anything goes wrong with any of the batteries, it shuts everything down. But you come over to here, let's see if I can get this thing up and working. You can see where this one's on. It's on, it's producing power. It's doing exactly what it should be doing. This is what you want all your lights to look like right here. There shouldn't be any alarms right here in the corners where you get an alarm if there was. There shouldn't be any alarms on anything. This is ideally what you want it to look like, and that's how it should look. And that's what you should see right here. See how it shows it's actually backfeeding into the grid? It's only backfeeding to prevent back current coming back in. It's such a low current, it doesn't have any effect with the electric company. You come over here, this is the slave system here. Let's see if I can get it turned on. Here's the slave system in the parallel running. So you can see how it's doing basically the same thing, and it's powering everything as it should. But overall, I'm very satisfied with how these devices are working. I've got the house on solar right now. I'm not using anything as far as the utility company goes. That's kind of what I was aiming to do. But you got right down here, see that big old box? What that is, that's called a wireway. And I ran all of the grid wires. You can see how these are all actually in, I've labeled them. So grid line. This is the actual grid line that comes in off that breaker that I'd showed you in a subsequent video. Here's your backup line. This line here goes out to that 100 amp breaker over to the switch. And then it powers on via the switch. So I can switch between grid and not having grid or solar. And you can see how it's got grid line, PV line, backup line. It's all labeled, and it was labeled for my for my benefit, so I can make sure I understand, should something go wrong, what wires I need to look at. But with that being said, I hope everybody enjoyed this series on how to do a backyard discovery solar build. And then with the included inverters, these inverters are SunGold Power 11.4 kW hybrid inverters. And then the battery is just a simple Powerwall battery with their 51 some amps with, or 51 some volts with 200 amp capacity. And I've got times 2 of them to give you a 400 amp capacity. But if anybody has any questions, like I said, feel free to write me, message me. Please like, subscribe my channel. I mean, it really does help. It helps get the word out so other people can see how easy these are actually to do. They're really not that complicated. The app on these inverters, it needs a little work, but it's not hard to understand. But with that being said, I thank you guys for watching and hope everybody has a great day. Bye.